Gemini. In this incarnation, you are teaching your fellow beings the value of communication. Additionally, you have the ability to understand the importance of the spoken and written word. And one of your responsibilities in this lifetime is to keep information circulating. You have the natural ability to say the right thing at the right time, and you can talk to anyone about anything. You have a knack for being in the right place at the right time to hear specific information that is needed by someone else. That information that you share with others can change the direction of their lives. Through you, they come to understand that they are in total control of their ability to communicate and that they must take responsibility for the frame of mind they allow themselves to have. As a natural teacher, you have the ability to stimulate mental growth processes in others. Through your command of your native language, you awaken in those around you a desire to develop their mental abilities. During this process, those you touch come to understand their fellow beings better and to broaden their consciousness. Thus, you bring the lesson of brotherhood to your social environment and teach us all to deal with one another in a more caring way. On some levels, you are teaching freedom of movement. You find confinement difficult since you are the storyteller, the jester, the town crier. Part of the uniqueness you offer is levity and a clear direction of consciousness. Through teaching others to see the humor within their own being, you have an ability to laugh and to create a change in an atmosphere that could otherwise block communication and understanding between people because of too much severity. You have a pattern which is responsible for humankind's moving about the earth and interacting with one another in larger numbers than ever before. This broadening of the circle comes from your insatiable need for more information. It keeps you searching far afield and constantly expanding your environment. You're like the child whose first environment is limited to the home and then broadens to the school and to the neighborhood. And eventually the child grows up and goes away to college, then moves out into the business world, into a relationship, and even to another city. Everything is continually expanding, so more experiences can be assimilated, and you teach the value of this process to others. This lesson may be taught either in a positive or a negative way. The choice is yours, but the lesson will be taught. You may teach the value of extended horizons, increased communications, alert awareness, and flexible mental abilities by setting an example and taking an expansive approach to how you live your life. Or you may teach these lessons by being an example of what not to do through the negative personality traits, such as being rigid or improper social behavior, belittling others by making fun of them, and or burying yourself in activities without sharing what you are learning. The value of multiple experiments. You understand intuitively that life is too short for you to become a master in any of the many areas that you want to experience. You have chosen in this incarnation not to master any one field, but to experience and taste a bit of everything. You are teaching those around you the value of having a vast number of experiences, and at the same time, introducing to others these experiences. This allows the people that you come into contact with to choose the directions in which they want to broaden their minds. You help people realize that there are more horizons and perspectives than they might originally have been able to see. Actually, you are teaching others to stop, look, listen, and investigate what the options are before setting themselves too firmly in any one place. You are helping people to recognize their choice and to make educated decisions, and not to fix themselves in such rigid mindsets that they can't change course. You are opening your fellow beings to the perception that they can experience more than one lesson or one set of lessons in a lifetime. You help them to realize that there is no end to the learning experience, just as there is no end to the universe. It is constantly expanding. You help to set us free and teach us that there are more places to go, more knowledge to gain, more information to pass on. It is a never ending cycle, and you open up our consciousness to the awareness of this concept of infinity. In this lifetime, you're learning how to communicate about the correct use of language and appropriate social behavior. You are learning not to take things for granted or to assume that others perceive things the same way that you do. In the process of honoring this lesson, you must depart from your past experiences and memories of hermit like consciousness and embark on a path of a social awareness. In order to integrate your lessons, you must align your consciousness with that of your fellow beings so you can share the knowledge that you have gained in previous existences. In your journey through life, you come to recognize that others seem to misunderstand your communications. Why? Accustomed to living within your own mind, you often do not realize that your internal thought processes have not been expressed verbally. Having thought about something, you sometimes think you have said it when you haven't. Then you get frustrated because someone didn't act on it. To eliminate the frustration of being misunderstood, you need to see if what you said or thought you said was clearly understood. You are learning that communication is more than just being verbal. It has to do with the clear, effective giving and receiving of information. When people are able to tell you what they have heard, this will ease your frustration and teach you how to be more articulate. As you learn to communicate more effectively, you will be able to reduce the number of times that you solicit feedback. Although you know intuitively that in this lifetime you must learn to relate with society, there is still some fear. This is because you do not yet trust your own mental abilities and the soundness of your belief systems. You think that if you interact too much with others, their views and opinions may rub off on you. You fear that you can be too easily swayed from your own mental process and ideas by the communication of others. You are easily distracted, that as a defensive mechanism, you sometimes block out others and don't hear what they have to say at all. You also may tend to verbalize what you want to have happen instead of what is actually going on. This is because you want the program only positive information. You must learn that sometimes you need the negative information in order to put yourself on a positive path. You're learning to accept the awareness of what is transpiring and the reason for being in an existence in which you need social interaction. The purpose is to accelerate your own growth process while on the physical plane. And if you refuse to integrate the so called negative side of things, then you won't have the information you need for your own future growth. As you learn to be sociable, you must understand how people are seeing you so that you can adjust your behavior and learn to participate more appropriately in a social situation. This isn't something that you were born knowing how to do, but it is particularly important for you to integrate this information into your personality. You often think that being gracious means saying everything nice, while sometimes being gracious means saying thank you or no thank you, but may I take a rain check? Or simply give the logical, factual reason behind your no and ask if you could join them at another time. It is truly more gracious to decline an invitation politely than to accept out of fear that if you say no, the person will never invite you again. It is truly more gracious to decline an invitation politely than to accept out of fear that if you say no, the person will never invite you again. Fear may make you reflect too much sweetness and not enough honesty. It is not your intent to be dishonest. You just don't want to close any doors because you are aware of needing to learn how to interact socially in this lifetime. As you become more open to learning from others, how to socialize with mutually clear communication, you learn that there is a time to say no. And this allows you to socialize in a more balanced way and also ensures that you have the time alone that you need. By not overcommitting, your lessons become easier and you avoid social blunders. By learning to say no, you can actually begin to enjoy socializing, for it is no longer a strain. You do it when you want instead of doing it out of fear. Needing time alone. This is very important for you because when you feel that you have given too much of yourself to others and given away too much of your time, which you value so highly, you may find yourself trapped in a pattern of not showing up, not keeping up your appointments, and being unreliable. When you learn to respect your need for your time alone and simultaneously integrate the social awareness that you are here to learn, you can balance both of those inner needs. Another manifestation of this process can be seen in those of you who promise too much of your time, keep all your agreements, and then find yourselves feeling stressed, put upon, and exploited. In this pattern, you may even become ill temporarily in order to gain the time alone that you need. When you've learned to respect your needs, you can integrate your lesson of sociability with your desire to escape from the crowd. By facing both desires openly and communicating your needs to others honestly, you will be able to master the art of communication. This shows that you have learned to communicate with the self, and this is what you have come to learn. It is important to respect your desire to be alone and to spend time going within. Through allowing yourself this time, you get in touch with the essence of your own being. In the past, possibly the very, very far past, soul memory, soul history, You may have embodied a very monastic frame of mind, walking a spiritual path, meditations, possibly in the mountains, or integrated a myriad of psychological and philosophical studies. Society has supported your personal spiritual growth in other times. In return, you are bringing the value of all you have learned to your current existence. You have been allowed the gift of spending many lifetimes studying and going within to understand humankind's role on the universal level. For those who study long enough to reach this depth of perception, the gift must come full circle. Now you must find ways to share your knowledge for the good of all. You have learned the common denominator, the common thread that runs through all philosophies and all religions. You thereby have the ability to impart an unprejudiced attitude in your interactions with others. Your challenge is to find a way to share this information in the course of your everyday life. Though this does not mean that you must stand up on a soapbox and preach, but through your mannerisms, your lack of prejudice, and your understanding of theology, you can impart this information to those around you. This will only be possible, however, if you have learned your lesson regarding appropriate social interactions. And because of the importance of what you have to share, including your soul awareness and your ability to understand a more universal consciousness, you must take the time to be sure that you are perceived properly and are not misunderstood.